She founded an architectural concrete company.
He founded a $100 million clothing company.
She took the world by storm as a social media star.
He took the world by storm as a famous serial entrepreneur.
Together we started a business.
And had babies.
Now we're figuring out the best ways to do both.
Join us as we learn from other entrepreneurs going through the same life struggles.
As they share their life hacks about success, love, kids,
and everything in between.
Hey, Mike, Jen, so good to have you guys on.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, welcome to the Pretty and Punk Show.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, first of all, every interview I get on, I got to express gratitude, man. It's a habit and it means something. So I just want to thank you for allowing us to come on and share with you and your audience, man, from my heart.
Well, I think the audience is going to get a lot from you guys. We've only had couples on here a couple times. So it's really interesting when I thought I would ask you to see if Jen could come on too. And that's good that you guys are both on because it makes for a more exciting podcast.
I think so. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it holds you to truth here. You know, like I know when I get on a podcast and somebody asks how I did it and how I was able to be such a good dad. If I'm by myself, the story sounds a little bit better than when I'm getting checked when my wife's on the show too. So
yeah, I agree.
I'm sure you're going to get the little nudge in the side when you're getting it wrong. But I want to start with you, Mike. Let's jump right in. Let's talk about a little bit about, I know you've been, you've talked about your experiences growing up with your family and how that's affected you. And this is a lot, what our show is a lot about parenting and about running a business. How was your childhood? How did that affect you growing up and how has it pushed you today?
Well, first of all, I love that question. And by the way, I wore, a lot of people probably can't see us unless they're seeing some of the clips that you may make from this, but we got tight black shirts on, just so everybody knows. I knew what to wear coming on the show because I had to make sure the guns were, almost as big as Dan's and showing. So, but
well, thanks.
No,
I
that's a great
appreciate
question, man. That's a great question, though. I operate on rocket fuel, and those have known me and those have watched my content know that I've bottled a formula to become unstoppable at anything I set my mind to. And I'm fueled by rocket fuel, I say. I'm also a believer in God and creator that put me on earth with blessings that like for anybody, we don't know our potential. None of us know our true potential. And when we get up in the morning, if we're not operating at full go and giving it our all, we're kind of disrespecting our creator to put us here. And so that's what I operate on. But really, back when I was about 8 years old, I moved in with my dad. I don't remember my parents ever together. I grew up in a broken household. So there was a lot of conflict, child support stuff, custody battles, all that stuff that you go through when that happens. Yeah. I thought it was an ordinary situation. Like I didn't know any different. Did the every other weekend thing and all that. So when I was 8, I moved in with my dad and he married a new wife. And there was some conflicts there. I don't want to get into a lot of detail there. I did in my book, Rocket Fuel. I got into it a little bit more, but there were some conflicts there that were taken out on me. And there was a lot of emotional and psychological abuse. So for 3 years, I lived in that. And I decided that I had enough at 11 years old. I said, I got to get out of here. So I told my mom the stories and what was going on. And she filed court papers to get me back to her house. And when I came home from school one day, after waiting for a long time for court papers to be delivered and dropped in my dad's lap. Oh, by the way, like, I don't know exactly what was going on besides just being a kid's point of view. So I'm not saying this to bash anybody. I'm just sharing the story, just how it impacted me and my perception of it. But, I came home from school. My dad had those legal envelope papers in his hand, right? And he said, go to your room. And I was like, man, here we go. Getting ready, strapping up, like getting ready. Yeah. And he came back there after I was sitting on the bed for about 5 minutes, which felt like 5 hours. And he said, it says here you want to move back with your mom. What's the deal? They don't have it that well there. Now, my mom told me at a young age that, you're going to be a leader and an inspirer one day. And I didn't even know what that meant. I just remember her telling me this all the time. And it was imprinted into my brain so that everything I ever did was try to help people, lead people. It's just something I naturally did. I'm basically a people builder at heart. And then she also told me when she filed those court papers or right before that, you need to stick to your guns when you believe in something. I'm going to do this for you and for us, but you need to make sure you're not flip-flopping. Because when you believe in something in life, you need to be able to stick to it. And people are going to try to talk you out of things because they have their own agenda or they're trying to justify their position in life because they quit on their dreams. So you need to stick to your guns. And I remember her saying that when my dad confronted me about these papers. And he said, you know, your mom's poor. They don't have any money there. You're going to go there. And what are you going to do? You got everything you need here. And my dad was my hero. He had a masonry company, laid brick and block and all that. And that's the reason I have a black brick wall behind me. He had big forearms, rough hands, carried a wad of $100 bills in his pocket all the time. And I looked up to him for that. You know, it was cool. He had he always take that rubber band around and flash the hundreds at me and show me what it got us and everything. So when I confirmed and stuck to my guns that I wanted to move, he took that wad of $100 bills out, peeled one off, crumpled it up and threw it at me and said, here, you're going to need this when you're living on the streets with your mother one day. And, you know, at that time, now looking back, man, I'm thankful because I like that, you know, that challenge. But remember, my mom, she taught me stubborn and she taught me leadership. And the two things that came to my mind, I remember was, you're not writing my story. I got this. This is my life. I'll show you kind of thing. And then the other thing was, I can't be the only one in this situation. I got to be able to help other people that possibly were given up on because I thought this was an ordinary situation. So after that, I just always tried to lead by example, role model, try to do everything I could to go out of my way to be the best at everything I did. And so for 30 years, I've been driving off that. Long story short, 2 years ago, I decided to figure out and do an analysis of really what was I fueling off of? And it was that. And I call it rocket fuel, turning setbacks, difficulties, negative people, converting it into rocket fuel for your future. So that's where it all started, man.
Yeah, it almost sounds like it's twofold because you had your mom leading you, giving you the right example and telling you what you could be, but then also something driving you, showing you kind of what you don't want to be, you know, that somebody telling you what you can't be drove you because you got that piece from your mom too. You know, I almost feel like that those work together sometimes. That if you don't have that other person in your life pushing you in the, pushing you in a positive way, that maybe you don't know which way to go. You know, did that, how much of a role did your mom play in pushing you in a positive way?
Yeah, I mean, I think we call her crazy mom, by the way. So Jen's mom's regular mom and my mom's crazy mom. And the kids called her that from birth. That's all they know her as. And we call her crazy because she's a fun time to be around. And she's wild and crazy. She just told me actually yesterday, that she got pulled over for having one drink or at a party, and she was just over the limit and like crazy stuff. Like that's stupid, but I told her that. But she's just crazy, like does some crazy stuff. But she's a great woman. She means well. She has a great heart. I think it was between her and my stepfather that stepped into my life when I was 11 was what taught me the right path to take. And I was very fortunate to have George, my stepfather, in my life. And, you know, he told us right from wrong. He was very black and white. He was real passionate. And he basically told us, if you do good things happen. You do bad things happen. And keeping things simple in life has seemed to help me, you know? So, yeah, I mean, I think that's what it was. And also, man, like I said, I'm stubborn. By the way, stubborn is one of my words for 2021. I picked 4 words instead of 1 word this year, and stubborn's one of them. Because I want people to understand that stubborn's not a bad thing if it's on the right thing.
Right. That's so true. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're both a little stubborn. Yeah, we say that sometimes. I got to think that, you know, that it must have been really hard living with your dad at that time, especially being 11 years old and having him coming at you like that. Do you think your dad had his own business?
But how strong of him not to cave? Because that's an intimidating
well, especially at 11 years old, because it's easy at 11 to go whichever way your parents tend to send you.
Look, if you go with your mom, you're going to be broke. You're not going to have a good life. Without money, you're not going to have a good life. How smart was he at 11 to understand that I don't need the money. I can build something amazing already, to know that at 11. That says something. That
Well,
speaks
I'm not sure if
volumes.
that was your frame of mind there. I mean, you're pretty young at that time.
Right.
But what do you think about, do you think you learned anything from your dad? He had his own business too. I mean, were there any positives in your life with your dad?
Yeah, I mean, he always told me every
Yeah.
brick he laid was another dollar. He always saw every brick. You know, he told me to do things quick, but do it right. Right first,
Oh,
quick
that's good.
second.
Yeah.
Taught me the importance of money's important, but I just also knew that I could go get money. I mean, it was, you know what I mean? Like, I just wasn't, my uncles and my mom's dad was a Mason. They were Masons as well. And I knew that I could work hard and make money, and just wasn't concerned with that. I was more concerned with being somewhere where, like, look, I'll share something with you guys, and I don't even give a shit right now because the book's coming out soon. And my stepmother has been trying to shut me up about this stuff because it shines a bad light on her. And I never brought her up before really in podcasts. I don't say her name, but when you're a kid and you hear your parents arguing, or your stepmom and your dad arguing, and she threatens to slit your throat, I'll just slit his throat. That'll take care of the problem. Or, you know, his whore mom and things like that as a kid, man. I mean, it doesn't, I don't think I necessarily was smart or brave. I just was like, dude, that's not right, you know, and just realized right from wrong. And, you know, to this day, like she tries to keep my book from coming out and stuff like that. I mean, it's just constant. She's 60 some years old. I'm a 43-year-old man now, and I still get that feeling from when I was a kid. Like, you know what I mean? It's just not right. So now what I do though, I convert it to fuel. So I don't ever play victim, man. I immediately, as soon as something comes into my mind that's negative, I convert it. I store it in my tank instead of my trunk, and I go to space, dude. Outer space is away from gravitational pull and all the negativity in the world. And that's why I can't be stopped now. And the only thing that stops us, Dan, is the, you know, discouraging people, the setbacks, the letdowns. Well, if you can convert those into fuel, then you're unstoppable.
Absolutely. I know that well in my life. I've done that throughout my life too. It's funny how I think most entrepreneurs have a similar story in that way. I mean, my childhood was a little bit different. I had really good parents who are still married today, and always been a positive in my life.
There's a lot
and so
of
is her mom. But yeah, I think outside forces are always a factor in everybody's life. You had a lot of outside forces. You had a little problem with your parents, but I think that everybody has
divorce, the trauma.
It's just everybody's affected different ways, but I feel like entrepreneurs seem to rise in a certain way.
You could play the victim.
Yeah, it's easy to play a victim
with your background,
but you decide not to, right?
Exactly.
Let's move forward a little bit. She's still handling the baby, so I'll run forward with the question.
You good?
This is the juggle that we've been playing here for the past few weeks with the podcast. The kid's got no place to go. How about just quickly, how are you guys handling the whole pandemic thing with your kids? Lots of business going on, lots of things going on.
I'll let Jen talk because I run my mouth so much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, we have a 14-year-old, first year of high school. He's in 9th grade this year. So having to do that from home, that has been difficult. You know, I wasn't a bad student, but if you asked me what I learned back in 9th grade, I certainly couldn't tell you. So trying to help him with his geometry homework, I'm using Google a little bit more than I like to admit. But yeah, it's been tough. I mean, my daughter, I have an 8-year-old little girl. She's been doing an excellent job, kind of independent, doing it on her own. She's actually my motivation because the social media, the TikToks, all of that stuff. I mean, she is just all over the place, and she does it like it's fun. And I'm like, you have to show me how to do this, how to use this. I mean,
yeah, they're great. We've watched a few videos of little Sophia, tiny, and we watched a few videos of her on YouTube. So yeah, she's a beautiful thing,
Yeah,
and
she's
got great energy.
Love it.
So
yeah, I worked from home prior to this, so it, you know, for me it didn't change things too much. In our company, we had people working remote already because we had set it up that way. So it hasn't been really bad. I mean, I'm sure we've had the best year ever in our company, and then our family too. I hate to see other people struggling, but you know what I also hate to see is people saying they, you know, can't wait for 2020 to get over with.
Yeah.
Because I
Right.
think that it wasn't bad for everybody.
No,
That's right.
it was great for a
Yeah.
lot of people. A lot of people
And some
raked
year,
it in this in
yeah,
2020.
And it just opened the doors to new opportunities that they didn't think existed.
And it weeded out a lot of people too. A lot
Mhm.
of people that couldn't hang and were living on fluff, and all of a sudden they realized and woke up a lot of people too. I think a lot of people
yeah,
realized that they needed to change some stuff in their business, and in
yeah, yeah.
2020 woke them up.
Yeah, I mean, think about this though. 2019, 2018, every single year there's something going on that you could like focus on and pay attention to and say, oh man, I'm so glad this year's over. But it's all your point of view and your perception of things, right? So
Mhm.
I just don't like that. I was, you know, listening to a church service today and they were like, man, I know it's been a tough year. It was just like gloom and doom. I'm like, man, lift each
Yeah,
other up, man. You know, so I
100%.
don't know. I just the way I look at it. Plus, I don't want things to be easy, you
No,
know?
Mhm.
no.
Mhm.
You see, if it
The
gets easy, you
challenge.
start coasting, right?
Exactly.
So I know, Mike, you at some point after graduating, I know you went to college for a little stint, and then something happened there, and then you got into some sales, and why don't you talk us through how you went from college to sales, and then now doing what you're doing now?
Well, I didn't drink beer or anything until I was 18, went to college. And then I was like, wow, like this is like a Disney World for adults, man. Like what the hell? How have I been missing this?
Right.
And what I did was I went down the wrong road. I lost my purpose because when I was a young kid, I was always focused on doing great things and staying focused. And when I got there, I played football in college and but I didn't really give it up my all. I partied my ass off and just it was fun for a short time, but you know, you get into drinking and then drinking's not enough, and then you get into weed and then you get into it's just not chasing girls and just no direction or purpose on anything that's going to really benefit you going forward. So I dropped out of college with a 4.0. Somehow I had a 4.0 still. I don't know how, but
Wow.
I went into the restaurant business for a short period of time, and then a guy came into my to my restaurant a lot, and he said, "Man, you'd be good at my job that I have, you know, my company." And that guy Joe, he ended up being my business mentor from a young age and got me back on track. And I started in-home sales where I was closing deals that night. If you left, you didn't get the deal, so you had to close the deal, handle objections, and just grinded on that sales game, learning how to present and overcome things. And it helped me learn a lot, but I hated it, man. Like I
Yeah.
literally hated it. I was miserable because I knew I felt like I was always destined for something bigger, some bigger impact, and that wasn't it. But
Right.
I learned a lot of lessons, and I met my wife while I was doing that. So
Oh, great. Tell us, Jennifer. Why don't you
Yeah,
tell us how you guys
oh,
met?
I love it because
you
Jennifer
tell
is
me.
a strong business woman, mama, and I'd love to hear the story. How did you guys meet?
Oh boy.
You
So,
gonna tell them about the pants that had the zippers on the side?
It can't be worse than our story
um,
because we met in Vegas. So you can, I
It
can.
was in it stock. I was working, you were working. It just sounds bad because it was in
Okay.
Vegas.
yeah. Well, my husband was living with a friend of ours, actually a business partner now, and he would have girls over to the house. I mean, Mike owned the house, so he was I guess renting or paying for a room from Mike. And Mike's like, well, if you're gonna have these girls come over, they got to bring a friend. And from what I heard before me, there were several girls that came over, and Mike's like, no,
Not
no.
interested.
Well, one of my best friends at the time was dating his friend and said, let's go over and hang out and at his house. And so I went over there. I was sitting on the couch and hanging out with everybody. And then Mike comes walking in the door, and I'm like, "Who's this guy?"
Aw.
And it's all kind of
What are you made of?
yeah. So we kind of talked from that point on, and it didn't take too long to realize that there was something there. It took me a little bit longer than it took him to realize, but Yeah.
So I had these Air Jordan pants. They're
No,
purple,
you
right?
don't.
Listen. And my buddy, so my buddy gave me a bunch. That Joe guy was my mentor, and he used to buy clothes with tags still on them and just give me clothes because he was balling and he just tons of clothes. So I was like, I had no money then really, and I was wearing the nicest clothes and this and that. So I had these Air Jordans. They were purple and they had like their warm up pants like basketball players would wear, and they had zippers on the side. And one night she came over and I said, hey, here, you can wear these. You don't have to have any PJs or anything. You can just wear these. So the zippers came in handy, man. But she's pinching me.
See, I knew this would get going.
I don't know like the rating of your show, so she's pinching me too. So.
Well, we
It's
do
okay,
have
we get
little
it.
ones listening. But
Yeah,
that's
we can read in
awesome.
between the
That's
lines.
awesome.
So you guys, so how long ago is this, and when did you guys end up getting married? How long have you guys been married now?
We met in 2001, and then we got engaged in October of 2002, and then married in May of 2003.
Yeah, so we're going on 18 years.
That's amazing. And you guys have two beautiful children, a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
And
14 and 8.
And 8.
And
that's
so,
not easy to do.
And that's a long time too. So you guys have had kids while you're building your business. How has having kids being thrust into your business, especially probably towards the beginning of your business, right? Like when you really started your business, it must have been a hard time to both have new kids, new babies, and then also be building a business. What was that like for you guys?
Yeah. How did you deal with that?
Well, I was in the mortgage business back in the day, working as a loan officer when we had the kids. And from there, we started building the mortgage business from there. But, I drove an hour and a half each way to a job being a loan officer for 5 years. And that was when we just had my son. And it was tough. I mean, I would leave at 7 in the morning, not get home till 7 to 9 at night. That put a strain on us back then. And, I had to do what I had to do. But eventually we figured it out. I moved the business, opened up a business there, and moved back closer to home. But I've always been a grinder, man. And, thinking about that, like I was coaching someone today and we're talking about, when you do some of us that are real successful in business will overcompensate for lacks of focus in other areas by being really successful in one area. And then what happens is it takes away from those other areas, and those other areas start pulling down the main focus that you have. Okay. So, I've been, working on coaching recently, more recently than last, but, and focusing myself on trying to focus on all areas. And there's no such thing as balance, but you really have to just make sure you put your focus on areas that are needed when they're needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see how things slide.
Yes.
We hear about it all the time. Yeah, it's definitely not easy. You see the couples, especially right now, they're falling apart.
Yeah, there's a lot of couples falling apart in this whole COVID thing, being locked down together. They got kids in the house. They're trying to run a business. They're trying to be strong. I know people talk about work-life balance. We know there's no true work-life balance as an entrepreneur, or at least I've never seen it.
No,
what do you?
It doesn't exist.
What's your guys' take on work-life balance? How do you achieve some sense of work-life balance in your life?
I mean, I think by nature, we're selfish people. I mean, we think about our needs, we think about our wants, what would push ourselves further in no matter what it is that you're doing. And I think it's just putting the other person's needs and desires above your own. I think that has a lot to do with it. I mean, for Mike, he works all the time and he's busy and he's got a lot of things going on, but he still has time put aside for us and for putting his family and our needs and the things that need to be taken care of above that. I mean, I think it's about priorities a lot of times.
Yeah, I think that like I moved in my house here, so I work from home, so I can run up every hour and a half and check on the kids and say hi, what's going on, anybody need anything. If I was at the office, I wouldn't be able to do that. So I think that you have to have intentions on things, right? Like I want to have intentions on having a great business and having a great family and relationship with my wife.
Amen.
And so you got to figure out, okay, if that's the case, what are you willing to give up?
Right.
Like that. I was just at, we were, like I said, I was at church today we watched it on TV today, and
Yeah, we do.
they were talking about like back in the day in the Old Testament times. And I'm not really, I've read the Bible before, but I'm not like, a Bible scholar by any means, but they were talking about sacrifices. People used to sacrifice lambs, right?
Mhm.
And what that symbolized to me was how you have to give up something if you want something. You can't just get anything you want without sacrificing something. So what are you going to sacrifice with, if you want a great family life and to work hard? Well, you got to work from home and you got to figure out a way to do that and make that happen. It's like if you want a great body and physique, what are you going to give up? You got to give up the junk food. You got to give up the drinking. You got to work your ass off. So there's always a give and take. Otherwise, it doesn't work. There's a cycle that's not completed somehow. So I just try to focus on that, and I always work on it. And I slip up sometimes where I don't focus on enough, and she lets me know about it. And then I open up. I get defensive at first for like a minute, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I need to listen. And then you straighten it up a little bit. So
Right.
Isn't that hard sometimes when you think when you immediately want to be defensive about your position because you think you're doing right, and then if you just sit and
Sit in it.
analyze it for 1 second, you'll realize that sometimes the person on the outside has the better point of view, and you're a little bit maybe knee thick and knee deep in it, and not seeing the whole picture.
yeah, we get
I
into
go
it,
through that a
man.
lot of time. I get humbled a
Yeah,
lot by that.
yeah, we're intense, man. And when we're going at our thing, whatever our thing is, I mean, we're into it. And then a lot of times that's the other thing about working from home. I'll go upstairs. I got to remember to turn the intensity down, like
Yeah.
dial it down a little bit. But the other thing comes down to, guys, is like, what are you more like worried about being? You worried about being right, or worried about being successful and having a successful relationship? Which more important to you? Because that's the
100%.
problem
Yeah.
that everybody has. Who
That's
cares about
right.
being right?
That's
What's been the
totally.
hardest for you guys in that kind of trying to deal with the balance of, because as entrepreneurs, we all love our business and
And we love our
we want to
families.
do the best we want to build that business. We're passionate about it. And then of course we're passionate about our family, especially when we're with them. But what's been the hardest thing about that balance for you guys?
I think it's just being in the moment because sometimes it is like he was talking. It's hard to turn it off. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, technology is in the palm of our hands nowadays. I mean, I do real estate, so I mean, everything is online. So I mean, I can be sitting at the dinner table and checking and doing things, and you could see that as multitasking. Oh, I'm having dinner with my family, but I'm also able to work and stuff. But you're not present, and we had, so something we definitely have had to work on, to learn that there's a time for work and for handling that, but then there's also time that you need to put aside for your family, to make sure that you're really there, you're really engaging with your children. It's not enough to just be in the room, just to have a presence. It's you have to be there, you have to communicate with them. It's important for them to feel important, and it's hard. I mean, as good as it is for our children to see that we work hard and we can be, an inspiration to them in that way, and work hard and it makes you successful. We also want to have success in our family life, so it's important for them to know that they are a priority to us.
Yeah.
And make sure that they know how much they're loved.
Yes.
It's so
That's
true. I
beautiful.
get anxiety sometimes when I think about when we have a real hard work week, and I'm thinking about like, oh my gosh, we really need to spend some more time with our kids right now. And it's just been a rough week because we're super busy, or because we both have businesses, and we have a business together also. So yeah,
But
it's
I want to take it back to where she's talking about, having that bond and letting the kids know that they're loved. Is there something that you guys do daily, like a ritual or routine, meditation? I don't know. It could be anything, but is there something that you guys do as a family, either dad and the kids, mom and the kids, or together? Is there any kind of routines that you have?
I mean, I've always tried to make, dinner together as a family a priority. And it used to be sitting around, the dinner table and, with lives and things that are, busy right now. Sometimes it's just, standing around the bar, but just
Not the
not
bar
the
in the
bar.
kitchen. The
No,
bar
I
in the
know, I
kitchen.
know, I
We don't
know.
take them to the bar.
Yeah. So I mean, just having that time that we're together, we ask about the day. I mean, that's just the thing. I don't think that there has to necessarily be set
Specific.
apart time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's just that when you have that opportunity, I mean, again, we have a teenager, so it's like,
Right.
trying to get him to spend time with us can be difficult.
Yeah.
But just, it's important to have those moments that, like, if he is in the kitchen, like getting lunch during the day and I'm out there, then
And you
I'm
jump on the
talking with him, or-
opportunity.
Exactly. It's just, you just take those opportunities as they come.
And I work out with my son at the gym.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
And then we do date nights occasionally with, I'll take Sophie, she'll take Nick, and then we'll do, the opposite.
Oh, that's
And then
great.
we also live in a resort town, so we have the rides in the summertime are open, and we'll take them to the rides a lot. And
Oh.
we do things like that. Dinner, we let them pick where they want to go to dinner, and just those kind of things. I mean, we're pretty good. We're all stubborn and hard-headed though, so we do battle sometimes.
Mhm.
But it's just part of the game, and I think it's Italians a lot of times will yell and they're just talking. So
It's like that's
Yeah, I
fun.
keep asking
My
that
God.
about like what's this Hungarian thing that she has about
He's like,
raising
you're
her
always
voice.
yelling. I'm like,
You're always
we're not
raising your
yelling.
voice.
We're just
And the-
talking.
And then the first time I saw her talk with her mom, I'm like, oh, I get it now. I totally understand where this whole thing comes from, because my family was so quiet. We were like really quiet all together. Nobody was loud. Everybody was quiet. Very church going family. And like,
yeah, that was her family.
yeah.
That was her family.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah,
know
what do you-
all about that.
So how do you guys, I know, again, you guys have business going on, you have your kids, but how do you guys keep your relationship
Yes.
strong between you two?
I wanna
Is there
talk
anything
Lots
you
of
guys
sex,
do?
man. Lots of sex. And I'll smack
That's
her,
good.
I'll smack her on the
good.
butt sometimes. Like this. Now, I really focus on making sure that anytime I like notice her, I'll say it verbally. So
Aw.
like, it's not just like looking and seeing she looks nice today, or, dinner was really good. Anytime she cooks for us, like letting her know like gratitude.
That's good.
I mean, I think that it's just very important to share feelings verbally as well. And, but yeah, I mean, that's that. And we do date nights, and then we'll take the kids on date nights too sometimes. And it's just us, but the kids occupy themselves. What else?
Yeah,
We go,
do
we
that.
travel, like we try to get away a lot to, not just a yearly vacation kind of thing, but we try to go away on like short weekends.
That is
Yeah,
smart.
I don't
I
think
feel
it's really, I mean, I think the big things are nice, but for me, and I don't know, maybe it's just as a perspective as a woman, but it's all the million little things throughout the day, you know what I mean, that make the difference. I mean, you could take a couple that just started dating, and then you can compare them to a couple that's been married for many years, and just see the way they react with each other, and you know what I
right.
mean, like just that, we want to do things for each other. Like I noticed that being around somebody who, just started dating someone, like, is there anything that you need? Like just those little things, like, can
Right.
I get you something? Can I do this for you? Like those things that
Don't
you
let
do in
that
the
slip.
beginning that you think, yeah, over the years, you don't have to do that anymore. And it's not true. I mean, if you really want to have a good marriage, you really need to date your spouse. And
Almost
that's-
even more so, because now you've got kids, now you've got a marriage and investments together, not like financial investments, but real investments. So it's almost like, shouldn't you be working harder for each other? That's a good point. That's a good
Yeah,
point.
it's easy. You see so many couples. We were just talking about this. You see these couples, that after their kids go away and go to college, all of a sudden they get a divorce because they have no reason to be together anymore. And it's really sad. Like that shouldn't be why we stay together, right? Just for our kids. We should have a good relationship together, and our strongest bond should be between our a husband and a wife. And because the kids are going to come and go, they are going to go out and live their own life, and they may move away or move to Japan, who knows what's going to happen, but we have to keep living together.
Yeah, mom and dad have to be a priority.
Yeah. So we take that serious too.
Communication too, man.
Oh
Communication.
yeah. That's
I mean, that's if you're feeling a certain way, and not blaming them, but
no, yeah.
just being honest and sharing opportunity at the right time to speak what's on your mind and just being open like that. So, and I think the other thing is if you have a relationship where you say, look, let's not get offended by anything, and let's be able to share what's on our mind, and let's have that understanding ahead of time. And that way, just think about it. If you don't ever get offended and the other person can say whatever they want, you can really clear a lot of things up, because sometimes you don't say things and it just starts building and building and building and then it explodes. Right.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That doesn't leave room for anything but growth. If you understand that.
What do you guys both love best about being a parent? What's your favorite thing about being a parent?
My favorite thing is the opportunity to be a leader and role model for showing them what it's, how to be a great husband, which I'm striving for. I'm not saying I'm a great husband, but striving for how to not do some of the things my parents made mistakes with, and just being a role model and a leader. That's I enjoy being influential, in their lives.
Yeah. We really do that through example, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether we like it or not.
Able to watch my children grow and experience new things. I mean, especially like around like Christmas time, it's tough for some people. Especially, I mean, I enjoy Christmas through the eyes of my children, the excitement that they feel, all of that. I mean, that's what it just gives me so much joy. And nothing can show you what unconditional love is more than a child. I mean, they just, you know what I mean? Like you
no
could
better blessing.
feel like the biggest loser. You know what I mean? You could feel like the worst parent in the whole entire world, but they can just make you feel like, everything's okay. They look at you and they throw their little arms around your neck and tell you that they love you. I mean, everything in the world's okay after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to say the truth is, and most people who aren't parents yet can never understand that, I thought all I ever wanted was a Lamborghini or something, and when you go out and get those things, they're nice for a second, but you realize at some point when you start to get a little bit older, unfortunately, it seems to only happen when you get older for whatever reason.
Or when you have kids.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean, I think it took me in the middle of having kids. I have older kids also. So as my kids got a little bit older, I started to realize that, your kids, there comes a time when they don't want to spend time with you anymore. They're older, they want to go spend time with their friends. And if you miss those times, if you don't do a good job during those times, you realize that you missed some moments that you'll never get back. And I see now that I'm clearer than ever that when I hold on to my kids or I'm watching them do something for the first time, walk or play or whatever, that's so much better experience than buying a Lamborghini, doing anything that you can do with money. It's just so much better that I would trade any of that for, those experiences of watching my kid play soccer for the first time, or, it just, and you just cannot even tell a new entrepreneur that. It's really hard to tell, a guy out the gate who's hungry and is, got a couple kids, but, he's pushing and trying to build his new business. It's really hard to tell him what he's going to give up when he goes on this journey, what he may have to give up.
Yeah. So we just,
I like taking them on trips too. And for me as a kid, when I moved back to my mom's, we used to go to the Jersey Shore with black trash bags, hefty trash bags as our suitcases. And we'd stay in a little Heart of Wildwood motel, all in one tiny little motel. And we had the beach. We didn't know any better at that time. I mean, I thought it was great. We'd go on the boardwalk and
best memories.
But now I get to take them to places and, really nice resorts and stuff. And I just I get a kick out of being able to show them that.
That's great.
And then I teach them that, it came from hard work though, and big visions and big dreams. And
I understand that.
Hey, Mike, let me ask you, this is a side note real quick. Going off script. Do you ever feel like, and this is maybe just, I'm just asking this personally, But do you ever feel like that, your kids are going to live a different life than you, obviously, because you're able to provide that for them. But, I think of some of the times when I used to, have to camp out in a tent in a campground that was kind of dirty, and we'd have to cook our food on a fire. I now my kids go to, 5-star hotels, and we go stay in this really proper place and have proper dining. And we look at the beach. It's right there, of course, and it's a nice experience. And we as parents, we really love the experience because everything's taken care of, right? But
Yeah.
do you ever worry that that they won't have that same hunger that you had, or that same those experiences that you might have gone through, been able to go through with your parents, that being
Yeah.
able to hang out in that kind of,
I
bringing
think
trash bags to the beach? In
mean,
some
well,
ways, was
that-
there a good experience? Was that a good experience in some ways for you?
I guess, yeah. I mean, it was. I didn't know any different, except looking back on it. I wouldn't tell my friends about it during that time, but I mean, we had fun, and
yeah, that's all that matters.
I don't know, man. I see what you're saying. It's kind of, you have something to say about
Well,
that?
it's just that there is a saying that said when you try to give your children everything that you didn't have, then you end up not giving them what you did have. And those experiences, like what you're talking about, those memories and stuff. And I think they're relative, for different people. I mean, our children's memories may be a little different than, trash bags at the Jersey Shore. But I think that, I think it's just about the experience. It's, they can look back and feel like a positive thing. And if if they like the trips to Mexico, and they like staying at the resorts and things like that, if you teach them that, hey, we're here because, mommy and daddy work really hard. And even now, like when I have to leave for work or something, and Sophie, my daughter, is upset because I have to leave, I explain to her, like, I go and work and I do this, and I have to leave you for a little while so that way we can set some money aside to go take a nice trip or go shopping or do something special with you, so that she understands that she doesn't just get those things because they just came out of thin air, that we work for them, they enjoy them, and hopefully that'll motivate them as they get older to do the same thing if they want to have those experiences. But no matter what they are, if it's something little or big, as long as it comes with a positive emotion behind it and it was an experience that they enjoyed, I think that's what's important.
I totally agree with you. Growing up as a young girl, we didn't have a lot of money, but my mom worked really hard, and she took us to Europe, and I got to see the experience of why she wanted to come to Canada, to give us an opportunity to create a great life. And then she would work her butt off so we could go to 5-star resorts. And I knew we couldn't really afford to be there, but she always expressed the importance of all those things you mentioned. So I think when your question, I think their kids are going to be just fine. Like those trips, that's critical, I think.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering, like, sometimes I think about that flip side, and I really like your quote too, Jennifer. That was a
Yeah.
perfect way to sum that up, because that's
Absolutely.
exactly that's what was running through my mind. And it runs through my mind sometimes. I think about, when we're staying at this beautiful resort, that if my kids wouldn't love to be hanging out in a tent right now too, maybe I should go take them through those experiences so they understand both sides of it. I want to go camp in a tent one time, even though it's a little cold and you don't get to eat the best food, and things aren't perfect.
I think we'll show them both sides. Like,
I don't.
I appreciate
I'm gonna
that.
drag
from
her
my
out
mom.
camping. She doesn't want to go camping, but I'm gonna drag her out camping. It's
In
gonna
an
happen.
RV.
No, you
In
know
an
what?
RV.
I'm hard on my son though too. Like I know what to do with that in regards to making sure he understands what's right and is right and wrong. And you gotta work hard. You gotta bust your butt. I'm gonna teach him sales, and I'm making him understand all that. And we also just recently got him a card, each of them a card where you put money on it, and then that's it. They got that money to spend for a period of time. If they don't, if they spend it all,
earn the money, right?
Yeah, they earn it.
Smart.
Yep.
Yep.
They earn the money, and they have to learn to manage it. And if they run out of money, then they got to earn more to get something that they want.
Yeah, I love that. I love that they're teaching them hard work.
What's the most important thing for you guys about raising your kids?
Most important thing?
Mm.
Oh goodness.
I mean, I
don't
think
know.
teaching them about God,
Yeah.
to me,
mean,
first and foremost.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean,
If they have that, they have everything, right?
That's a mic drop.
Everything writes
That's a
itself.
mic drop again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, I
that's
mean, I think that all the lessons are there for them to
Mm.
understand, but just to understand, to me, like, you know, we have a body here, but our spirit is something different. And, you know, you got to make sure that you understand that your body, although your body's limited, God gave you a spirit that's unlimited and you can do whatever you want. And to really
Amen.
understand, like a lot of people talk about God and it's about doing right and not doing wrong and all that. But more importantly, what about the blessings that God gave you with the ability to do whatever you want, man?
Yeah.
And people are going to try to limit you with beliefs that they've implemented on you, and all these limitations come at you from all different angles. And just really understanding that you have an unlimited ability spiritually and mentally to be able to accomplish whatever you want. I think that's, to me, the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Solid. Now, Mike, how has Jennifer helped you support you on your dream, on your journey? What has she?
Well, I truthfully have the most awesome opportunity here to be whatever I want to be with her support, because she just knows that when I get my mindset on something, I already brought up stubbornness, that I'm going to go for it. So she just basically says, okay, well, I got you, and that's
get out of his way.
That's the best thing to say.
Wow.
Like, she
That's
goes, I
good.
got you. And then, if I'm down here in the cave working, I don't have time to go get something to eat, plate comes with food on it. You know what I mean? Like things like that. And I just know that she's going to be handling the kids and everything that needs to be done if I'm grinding. And one thing I do, like, I don't care how much money comes in, I'm always grinding like I'm broke, because I just don't want to ever get complacent. So I think she knows that, and she supports me by doing that, and always just shows me that through that support. I mean, it's not even verbal, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. You see her heart.
Jen, for you, the same question. Like this is what has Mike done to help you as both in your business too, but also as a mother raising the kids? How has he helped you?
Well, he tells me even to this day that, do what makes you happy. Do the thing that, and I do. I'm a realtor right now. I was in insurance before then, as an agent then. And, you know what I mean? Like, I've had like good jobs, but he's always been encouraging me to do the thing that makes me happy. And it doesn't matter, if it's a well-paying job or if it's a volunteer or whatever it is. He's like, find something that makes you happy, something that makes you feel like you have worth, and do it. And he'll support me in no matter what that decision is. And knowing that I could, decide tomorrow to quit my job and do something different, knowing that he will support me in that, if that's what made me happy, that's what's important.
Yeah, well, and that includes shopping, because look, when we first married, I'd see like these boxes come into the house, and I'd be bitching and complaining about, like, what the heck? And then I figured it out, man. The secret is just to let them do it, and then just grind your ass off and try to outpace the delivery man. So that's what I do, man. I try to beat their ass. I just, that's what I do. I literally, that's something in my mind every day. It's crazy. I'm like, I got to get them. They're not going to win.
I worry about that sometimes. Her fingers are so fast.
Stop. I buy my own stuff.
Your fingers are so fast. It's
Stop.
like, I don't know how. Yes. Yes. Amazon is,
Stop.
we bought stock in Amazon, and we haven't even literally bought stock in Amazon. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. I think it's deceiving though, too, because I think some of the stuff nowadays that you'd have to go shop for gets bought through Amazon. So it looks a lot worse than it is, but still, I think it's a great, for all the guys out there listening, man, I think it's a great thing to try to outpace the delivery person. It'll make more money in your business.
Yeah, 100%. No, I believe that too. Where are you trying to take your business, Mike? What do you feel like you haven't accomplished in your business?
Well, the mortgage thing, like, we're up to 40 employees, and we're looking to 3x where we are now, our business as fast as possible. And I really want to do it by adding I can't say young people because you're not supposed to discriminate by age, but younger heart people that are really like, don't have the skill in the mortgage business, but have the will, and they have the attitude and the work ethic. And I want to develop them. I get a kick out of that. But the other thing is that like, I got the podcast, right? And I'm thinking just last week, I'm thinking, how can I level up the podcast? Like, having great guests is one thing. Remember, I had you on there as well for those that are listening. That episode will be coming out soon. But what can I do next? And I all of a sudden was just brainstorming with one of my guys. We're like, well, what about a documentary where you go around and like interview people that had setbacks, like severe setbacks, and how they used it as fuel, right? And you know, I'm not doing that on a podcast, but maybe do a documentary and like raise the level up, right?
That's
and then
powerful.
sell it to Netflix or Amazon or something. So this is some crazy shit right here. So I got to tell you the story. So this is what I'm talking about, belief. Like, you have to believe things before you see them, because if you don't believe, you're only going to see what you believe, right? So I start talking about this game and I start telling people about it. And over the last year and a half, I've built this big network of people that have access to like crazy people. And so I started saying this, and then I shared this with a couple of people that I know that are in the business of film producing or Hollywood or this and that. And they're like, dude, anything you need, man. And it's like, well, if I didn't come up with this idea and talking to this guy that works with me, and my wife was at dinner that day, and I didn't start believing that I could do it, I wouldn't have asked these people, and then nothing would have happened. And now I got it in my head that I'm going to do this and it's going to happen. But it's just some crazy stuff. To answer your question, man, I'm just going to go. I don't know my potential. I don't know the group around me's potential. I just know that we're not going to stop, and we're just going to see how far we can take it.
Yeah, just keep pushing, man. Yeah, I know you got a book coming out. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your book too?
Yeah, Rocket Fuel. It's coming out February 7th. It's on pre-sale now at MikeCiorrocco.com/book. That's Mike Ciorrocco with no K, just like this, CROC.com/book. Grant Cardone is a mentor of mine. I don't know if you know the 10X rule. This guy here. So he's a mentor of mine and got me out of a hole, a dark place where I was when a business of ours fell apart. And I'm forever grateful to him. And I just immersed myself in his content, and he's developed me into this like animal. I can't describe it any more than he gave me validity to let the animal out of the cage.
Right.
I felt like I was caged up for all these years. And so he wrote the foreword for the book, which is something that I set out there again and put it in my mind. I believed. I was like, I'm going to get him to write the foreword. And he doesn't do that. You know what I mean? So to be able to get that on there and make it worth his while, and then show him that I'm living up to the standards that he sets for people, meant a lot. So that book's about converting setbacks into rocket fuel and becoming unstoppable. And I can't wait for people to read it, because it's like, it's going to change lives, man. I bottled this formula up, and a lot of people have heard of this, but when you talk, see, there's no new concepts out there. It's all how you frame it for your personality and your experiences. But when you simplify things for people and frame it a certain way, it could be as old as, you know, concept as possible. But this framework of this rocket fuel concept is powerful, and it's going to hit millions of people, man.
I bet. I can't wait to read it, man. It has a great name too. I love the name, Rocket Fuel, because I think I've thrown that around a little bit in my life. You know, like when you get down about something, I'm just going to use this for rocket fuel, and so it really says what the book's about. I love that. Can't wait to read it.
Yeah.
Are you going to do it on audio too?
You better.
Yeah, man. It's going to be on audio. I'm actually going to read it on video. And and I'm going to sell the video package for probably like $150.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
Well, sign me up. I'll take one of those.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man.
I got one last question for you guys. Oh yeah.
What's that?
I got one last question for you guys. And this is a question we ask everybody who's, you know, you know, we all want to leave a legacy for our kids, and we love our kids. We want the best for them. But I want to put you in the frame of mind, and it's just a total hypothetical question, but let's say you guys were on a flight on the way to go see some friends, and you were talking to your kids on the phone on this flight, and you knew the flight was going to go down, and you had one piece of information that you wanted to leave with your kids before, you know, because we're all going to leave one day. and we want the best for our kids. But you had one piece of information that you wanted to leave with your kids, that would help them with their life for the rest of their lives. What would that information be?
You go first.
No, you go.
No, I got mine.
I'm gonna think about it.
It's an emotional
one thing, I was at a
question.
mastermind in Vegas this week, and somebody was telling me that all these billionaires that they were around and these really super successful people, they're obsessed with what their mission is. And they talk about it all the time. And people say they're crazy and they're obsessive and this and that, but they don't care. I've been saying this whole time, and I do it every show I'm on. It's understanding that you were blessed with an unlimited spirit and mental capacity to accomplish whatever you want. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And anything that goes against that, convert it into rocket fuel, and you'll be fine. That's what I'm, always talking about. So
I love that.
I think mine's probably pretty similar, but I mean, I would tell them that, you're going to face a lot of things in life. You're going to face a lot of different people. But the most important thing is when you go home and you look in the mirror at the end of the day, do you love the person that you see looking back at you? If you can't say that you love who you are, that the things that you did throughout that day are a good reflection of the person that you want to be, then something needs to change. So just make sure that, you love that person that's looking back at you.
Those are both so powerful. Like this, yeah. If anybody does both of those things, they will absolutely achieve success.
One more thing. Let's ask them about the book.
Okay.
The book that they would recommend. What's the book that you would leave for your children?
One book that
Like
you want to
one
leave for your
book.
kids.
Besides the Bible, right?
Yeah.
That's always a good one.
Yes,
Go ahead,
besides.
Oh goodness, I don't know. To pick one. You go first. I'll think about it. I'm not good on my.
Besides the Bible, besides your book.
Yeah.
What's
They'll obviously have your book, Dad.
I mean, the 10X rule, man, has meant so much to me. I got to say too, I got to cheat. The 10X rule is the main one. And then there's a book called Beyond Positive Thinking by Dr. Robert Anthony. And it teaches you how to change the way you think. And it's beyond just thinking positive. It's intention statements and how to get rid of programmed beliefs that you have in your subconscious mind. It's very powerful, deep book. It's really thin actually, but it's so deep. So those are the two that I would recommend.
Oh, that's great.
You have one?
I really can't even think of something right now.
I try to put I put books in front of her all the time. She's like, I don't want to read that. Get it away from me.
Well, some people take in content differently, right? Some people like a YouTube video or, there's other ways of taking in content. I like audiobooks. Somebody will tell me to read a book. I swear I can't get through reading a book, like just reading a physical book. My brain won't let me finish it for whatever reason. Maybe my reading comprehension.
Even set up that limitation.
Maybe I put that limitation for myself. I like listening to an audiobook. I enjoy listening to an audiobook.
Yeah, I do too.
I believe I take in the content better for whatever reason.
Dan, here's the thing, dude. I fall asleep listening to audiobooks, so it's like I gotta read. So
yeah, so you like to read.
Yeah.
You probably just need to read more, like lean into it.
I guess I feel like that the kids and everything's, I feel like I'm always not doing something. So the way I take in books is I do a lot of driving or flying or whatever I'm doing. So I have like headphones in my ear because I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to, or if I'm at the gym, I don't necessarily listen to music. I don't like listening to music. I'm either listening to a podcast or I'm listening to a book. And so I guess just when I'm at home, I'm typically at home with the kids. I can't get a lot of work done because I'm with the kids. I'm with the wife. We're doing things. Maybe we're talking through business. But so I guess it's just the way my life's kind of played out that when my time for listening to books is when I'm by myself. And the best way to do that is when I'm usually doing something. I'm actually kind of on my way somewhere or doing something else or working out at the gym. Those times are when I take the time to listen to a book.
For myself,
So that's why you got to do
I
some sort of
it
audio
here
for me,
with
Mike.
the
Here,
kids.
you got to help me
I
out,
got you.
Mike.
I feel
I
like
got you. I'll take care of it.
yeah. For myself, I listen to the audio because obviously I can't be in a book. The kids are too young unless I wake up really earlier at night. But the audio is great because my son picks up so much from the book, so much nugget, so much value. It's crazy.
Yeah, he'll
And
be a
he's 3
part-time
and
listener
4,
too.
and he'll throw these quotes from a book, and I'm like, oh, wow, they really do. They pick up on everything around them. Are the little ones coming in?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
We had the Alexa. We had the Alexa screen, and she was popping in on there. I'm like, no.
It's okay. It's okay.
That's
We're
okay.
wrapping up.
Well, it was so good having you guys on. You guys were great guests. Thank you for both coming on. That's we love doing the show where we can both have both of you guys on here and hear both sides of the conversation.
And do you
want
to confess now? Like, it's my credit card on Amazon, and I was the sugar mama.
Sometimes
I was the sugar mama
Sometimes
when
it
we
is.
met. I bought
Okay.
him all
Get him.
designer stuff, and he got me
Yes.
like what, a
She was.
candle, but that's
She was.
okay. It was the thought that
Yes,
just
she's
tell
very good at that
everybody
stuff.
I'm the sugar mama, please. Thank you.
Okay.
No lies. See,
Sometimes.
he's right. When you're
Sometimes.
together, you can't.
Okay.
I love it.
So where can
Nah,
they
you
find
guys
you?
did a
Where can
great
they find
job,
you
guys.
guys? Where can our listeners
I'm on
find
Instagram at Mikey MIKEYCROC, Mikey Ciorrocco, and Jen's is a little bit longer.
GenRock_real estate.
Awesome.
Love it.
Yeah,
Hey,
thank
by
you
the way,
guys.
I just got the blue check mark the other day for some reason, all of a sudden.
Wow.
Hey.
So I guess I'm a doctor now. I can prescribe medication or something.
You're
That's
the
awesome.
whatever that means. I guess it means we're like the real thing now. You know, I don't know, but it makes you,
Yeah.
it makes people take you more serious when you write them. I guess that's what
run
I've got
faster.
out of it.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe I could dunk a basketball now. I don't know.
Oh, great. Well, okay. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on, and we will catch you guys in the next one.
Thanks for listening. Please subscribe. We love you.